Hey guys, it's RobJ here, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you an update on my Nicobarensis colony. They're actually being moved. They've outgrown their current nest. So basically what's going to happen now is I've linked them up to their new nest. So I put a new nest between their old nest and their new outworld. They were also given a new outworld simply for the fact that the old outworld was very dirty and needs to go and be scrubbed. So I already moved them into their new outworld, so it's only really the nest that's being moved into today. Basically, as you can see, the outworld is linked up to the new nest, and the nest is linked up to the outworld. I've made the old nest, so the dirty nest and the outgrown nest, I've made that a bit undesirable. I've not watered it for a day. I have also added a heavy light source, a non-heat emitting light source, and I've also turned off their heating in their old nest, and their new nest is actually at the perfect temperature that they like, with a heat mat underneath the nest. Also, I am providing some sweet treats to them in the new nest and distracting a lot of them in the outworld with also some treats. This will essentially, they'll become used to the nest through travelling through it to use the outworld and food and etc. But as more workers travel through and find that the conditions, it's hydrated, it's humid, and it's got a easy food source and the right temperature, they will actually decide to start moving, and that's essentially exactly the plan. And it pretty much started working right away within an hour. As you can see here, I've tubed it up to the new nest directly from the old nest, and not going overboard, I've provided quite a few sweet treats that they really like. This is to give them a distraction while I'm doing different disconnections and stuff. You don't want ants running around panicking, so you can actually really easily distract a load of ants with food while you're piping up the new outworld. It's a really sound method that I like to use. The new nest is actually the anti-Jans stackable nest. If you'd like to see a review on just this nest, you can find that in the top right corner now. And as you can see, the old nest is very packed, and there's the queen bustled in, if you can spot her. And as you can see, there's still a lot of eggs and not a lot of moving happening. But I can confirm that the queen did budge shortly after adding a cooling source to the nest, just to make it a little bit cooler, and there's no heat source, and it's dry. So the workers, the word soon spreads in the nest that there's a perfectly good nest really close by. And there's the queen, and she's in that top corner now, and you can see her passing through now. And there we go. Queen is in. And that's it. The queen is now in. The move will be in full-fledged. She wouldn't have travelled and moved through if the word was not out spreading among the ants that they are moving. The queen wouldn't have done it. To distract the outworld ants, I have just given them some protein jelly. These ants absolutely love the protein jelly, and not unlike my other ants where they just sort of suck the juice off, these will actually eat the protein jelly. I've added a bit of loose sand here to see what this species will do with it. I want to add loose sand to the entire outworld, but I don't want to do it if they're going to just dig it up and put it in piles and shove it here, there and everywhere, make it look like a mess. So I put a little bit in to see what's happening. This is the solution I come up with for joining it to the new nest. I used a bit of curved pipe, because your pipe always comes in like curves because it's been rolled. So I got a piece of heavily curved piece, and I used that to bridge the height gap. Over in the new nest, the move is fully on and fully happening. They are positioning themselves mainly at the moment over the heat sources, which is a heat cable on one side and half a heat mat on the other. Everything has calmed down, and as you can see, there's no panic in ants going on. Over back in the ants' Australia nest, the dirty and crowded nest, which I want to take apart and clean and use on other ants, the message has spread, and a lot of the ants that were refusing to move have started to basically let the ants that are doing the move take the eggs and larvae away. Once most of the eggs are gone and everything, the moving ants will actually start dragging the young and other ants that haven't actually quite got the message or not moved into the new nest. Once most of the nest is empty, I will be disconnecting it. So I will actually accidentally trap some ants in the nest, but don't think I forget about them. What I do is I add a very long coil of clear tubing to the nest with the end blocked, and what happens is when the ants move into the tubing and start going around the coil, which will take them quite a while because this nest is undesirable, essentially I will just unplug that, block it at both ends, and I've got all the ants in this coil of clear tubing. I open up one end and I put it into the outworld, and the ants leave. This is how I did this, and the method really does work. There was about 15 to 20 escapees through the entire move, but this is a large colony of at least a couple thousand, so you're not really 15 to 20 escapees, but I'm pretty sure we got pretty much all the escapees. Over a few days, a lot of ants were returned to the nest, popping them in through the feeding chamber in the ants' Jan's built-in outworld, which I just use as a feeding chamber for sweet treats, and I use the outworld for mealworms, ant nectar, all that sort of thing. They turned out to not actually do anything with the sand other than a small digging in the spot. They don't actually move the sand anywhere, so I went ahead and added the full sand. As you can see, that this outworld was also given a nice background. This background, unlike my tutorial, if you want to see my outworld building tutorial, that is in the top right hand corner now. Unlike that one, I actually got this picture from an envelope, a large envelope that was printed in card, and it was a very nice picture and it was deserty, and I thought that will make a perfect outworld, and essentially that's where it came from. As you can see here now, after everything has settled in, I have now disconnected the old nest. They are fully moved in, and with the sand and everything, I think this joint works very well. Although it is a loose joint, and at one point a few ants did escape from the hole, I have glued it from the other side so it can't be pulled out. And as you can see here, I have now inserted the heat probe into the right hand side entrance chamber. So the heat probe is inside the nest, so the thermostat controlling the heat mat underneath will get an inside nest temperature, which is ideal. Because they just moved in and the hydration sponge was brand new and had to be softened up, a little bit too much humidity was added, but this did clear up within a few hours and they're pretty much back to normal. Once they'd been in the nest for about a few days, they did start spreading out into the nest, as they weren't just hovering over the heat mat. I think everybody had been given their own place. To let them settle down, I just left them alone basically, applying their red cover. And that is the complete move of the Camponotus. I must say this is one of my favourite colonies, if not my favourite colony. I really do like these guys, and I think the outworld and nest transfer was really successful, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next videos, and I hope to see you then. Bye now.